think looking back on that season, so last season, was one of the biggest misconceptions of the Indiana Fever? Like, maybe it was like locker room stuff. I feel like early on,
oh my
like,
gosh, there was so much locker room talk. Oh my gosh, her body language. She was not happy. She hates this entire.
Ever wondered what Aliyah Boston really thinks about Caitlin Clark? While Aliyah just spilled all the tea on Sue Bird's Bird's Eye View podcast, and trust me, she held nothing back. We're talking everything from her jaw-dropping first reaction to Caitlin in college to their dynamic now as teammates on the Indiana Fever, how their bond has absolutely exploded, and even how she navigated Clark's early season injury. And get this, she even dropped some absolutely wild locker room revelations that are already sending shockwaves through the league. Forget your typical feel-good interview. This one is raw. It's real, and honestly, it's surprisingly hilarious. Before we dive in, do me a favor, drop an AB and CC in the comments to show your love for Aliyah, Caitlin, and the Fever. Let's go. Remember that viral moment when Sheryl Swoopes basically threw shade? Well, get ready, because Aliyah Boston just served up the ultimate in-your-face moment, putting Swoopes squarely in her place, and it was epic. When Caitlin Clark first rolled into Indiana, guess who was watching closest and holding absolutely no punches? Aliyah Boston, of course. I mean, these two had just battled it out in one of the most legendary Final Four matchups we've seen in years. And trust me, Aliyah hadn't forgotten a single thing Caitlin did that unforgettable night. In fact, Aliyah straight up admits she had to confront it head on, because let's be real, you don't just ignore someone dropping 40 points on your head when you suddenly become teammates. But that wasn't the whole story.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't want to be here. This is where I want to be.
Here's the crazy part. Instead of awkward tension, what came out was something hilariously funny, genuinely real, and totally refreshing. Aliyah's honest-to-goodness take on that whole situation shows just how incredibly grounded she is, and how lightning fast she shifted from fierce competitor to unstoppable collaborator. The mutual respect? It was instant, genuinely, and that bond, well, it only exploded once they actually hit the floor together. She literally said, "Girl, you did the thing, girl, so move on." That's really what it is. You just move on. You're like, listen, we're on the same team now, so let's go whoop some butt. Let's do it 100%. And what happened next would shock everyone. As the season unfolded, their chemistry became so undeniable, it was basically impossible to ignore. Aliyah shared that their connection goes way, way beyond stats. It's about this crazy trust, this insane intuition, knowing exactly when to roll, cut, or seal without ever even needing to shout for the ball. Caitlin's superhuman passing vision combined with Aliyah's perfect positioning and their almost telepathic ability to read each other in real time. That's what made them one of the most absolutely electric duos to ever watch on the court. And when Aliyah revealed she literally watches Caitlin's eyes to decide her next move, that's when you realize this isn't just raw talent, folks. This is a basketball IQ operating on a whole different level. And trust me, it's only going to keep rising. But then came the drama.
Learn from it.
It's like, we say it all the time in our season now, like margin of error is so small, but when you're going up against a squad that has vets that have been in playoffs, that have won, it's like they know exactly what to do.
Did you feel a jump in there was a jump in
intensity and energy.
Isn't it crazy?
It's
palpable.
Insane. Like the very first game when we played against Connecticut, like it was close and then they kind of just, they took it and they ran with it. And then the second game, it was like, we were right there. Like we were right there. And then I feel like
when Caitlin Clark officially joined the Fever, it wasn't just a roster change, guys. It was a total spotlight shift, like flicking on a stadium-sized floodlight. Suddenly, every single play was under an intense magnifying glass. And the pressure? It was beyond sky high. Aliyah Boston got super real about the absolute whirlwind those first few weeks were. A brand new offensive rhythm, unfamiliar team dynamics, and the entire world expecting instant mind-blowing results. Instead of being given a minute to gel, they were basically treated like a super team that somehow failed right out of the gate, which, let's be honest, is a wild expectation for everyone else. And the media frenzy, that definitely didn't help. Every single misconnection somehow morphed into a conspiracy, and strangers online were dissecting their body language like it was championship game tape. For Aliyah, honestly, it reached a breaking point. She already puts enough insane pressure on herself. The absolute last thing she needed was keyboard warriors questioning her chemistry with a teammate she was literally still getting to know. So what did she do? She smartly logged off.
Honestly, I think if we had brought it back to Indy, we were gonna get it. No, we were, because we had just beat them at home. So it's still one of those that's like, dang, if we could have just gotten to that third game, I think we really would have came out and just went bananas. But I think it was a great experience for us. And obviously, like, this year now too, we're like, listen, playoff run, like, we need that. You feel it now. You're like, I.
He explains that from day one of the season, the message was clear: next woman up. Injuries are inevitable, but excuses aren't. Whether it's a starter or a role player, everyone is expected to be ready. But here's what's important. Aliyah never ever blamed Caitlyn. In fact, it was quite the opposite. She publicly praised Clark for elevating the entire league, welcoming that huge spotlight and bringing in a tidal wave of new fans. What she did push back on hard was this totally unrealistic expectation that two young stars would just click instantly. That's simply not how real chemistry develops, guys. And now that they've actually had some time to grow together, the results are speaking for themselves loud and clear. Then, oh boy, then came the drama, or at least the internet supercharged version of it. Suddenly, whispers were everywhere about the locker room. Rumors of beef, bad blood, even the silent treatment. Fans and media alike decided they had the whole messy situation completely figured out. Meanwhile, what was Aliyah doing? She was literally just waking up from a nap. That's right, she logs on, sees all this online chaos, and all she could do was honestly laugh with her teammates and ask, "Y'all good?" That, folks, is how real the so-called tension actually was.
It's a lot of change.
Yes.
You have a coaching change.
Yep.
You have a ton of, it's a big free agency year for you guys. And really overnight, what that big free agency year was, or big change was expectations change.
Yes.
So you guys went from like this up and coming, where it's like you're getting to know each other, to now it's like, oh, they could win the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the experience of essentially becoming like, instead of being the hunter, you're now the hunted?
Yeah. It's crazy, but I feel like it was definitely expected. Like,
Aliyah makes it absolutely crystal clear. Whatever wild stories were spinning out there were nothing more than pure unadulterated noise. The actual truth? This team was locked in, completely unified, and laser focused on one single thing: winning. The Fever didn't just protect their locker room, they protected each other. While the entire outside world ran absolutely wild with dramatic narratives, the players wisely stayed quiet and just let their undeniable chemistry do all the talking out on the court. Still, let's be real, losing Caitlin Clark wasn't just about losing a playmaker. It completely fundamentally shifted the entire flow of their offense. Aliyah opened up about how drastically different it feels playing with and without Caitlin actually on the floor. When Clark's out there, Aliyah says, "You are always on high alert. The ball moves at warp speed. The tempo absolutely spikes, and defenses get stretched further than ever before." Aliyah said it best herself: "When Caitlin's playing, be ready to run." Without her, though, the game naturally slows down. The Fever pivot, focusing on more deliberate half-court execution, working through multiple options and forcing teams to defend deep into the shot clock. It's not necessarily better or worse, just undeniably different. And what's amazing is that learning to thrive in both systems has actually made the Fever incredibly more adaptable. Aliyah credits this newfound flexibility as one of their absolute biggest strengths in what's been an otherwise rocky, challenging season.
One else.
But then you added in Caitlyn, right? And everybody's like, oh, like they're going to be this, this, and this. And now everybody's like, oh, you know what? We're going to prove you wrong. Like, hell no. Like, that's how it is. And then this year too, obviously we go in the free agency and everybody's like, yeah, like they got, for us, we always think like you have to approach every season with like, we're winning this whole season. So that was our mindset. And I think when you look at expectations, once again, expectations come from everyone outside. Cause like in our circle, we know exactly what we want to do. We also understand that it's a process. We understand that new faces, new coaches, like different style of play for people joining us. It's like people need time to figure it out once again. But when you do figure it out, it's going to.
Now, the Fever's return to the playoffs in 2024 might have been short-lived, but for Aliyah Boston, it was anything but meaningless. She vividly recalls that series against Connecticut with this intense mix of pride and frustration. They were this close. Game 1 might have slipped away, but Game 2, they were right there, knocking on the door. What really separated those two teams wasn't raw talent. Aliyah explains it was pure experience. Connecticut's seasoned veterans just knew how to manage that playoff intensity, when to strike, and how to absolutely close out a game. That, Aliyah says, was the crucial real lesson learned. What truly stuck with her wasn't just the sting of the loss, but this burning feeling that if they had somehow pushed it to a third game back on their home court in Indiana, the Fever absolutely could have taken the series. That deep-seated belief that they were almost there, that they nearly had it, that ignited a serious fire within them. It's one thing to just make the playoffs, right? It's another entirely to leave feeling like you didn't even get your real shot. And guess what? That feeling is exactly what's fueling this electrifying new chapter. So what's been their secret weapon? What's truly helped them weather this storm? Veteran leadership, hands down. Aliyah was quick to highlight how players like Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and especially the incredible Sydney Colson have become the absolute glue holding everything together. Whether it's calming nerves, setting the perfect tone, or cracking exactly the right joke at exactly the right time, these seasoned vets have been instrumental in keeping the locker room focused, unified, and genuinely upbeat, even when things are tough. Aliyah even shared a super insightful story about Sydney Colson, who's often seen as the team's incredible comedic spirit, revealing a whole other seriously powerful side of her leadership behind the scenes. Colson knows precisely when to speak up, how to pull someone aside for a quiet word, and exactly what to say to snap their mindset back into focus. That kind of innate leadership, Aliyah says, simply can't be taught in a classroom. It's something truly felt, and in a season that's been absolutely full of chaos, that leadership has been quite literally everything.
It's definitely been a struggle, but I think just at the start of the season too, like, you have your start of the season meetings and you're talking. And for us, it was about, listen, like, no matter what happens in the season, it's next woman up and you have to be ready. And I feel like obviously struggling with injuries, and then, you sign people and then they leave, and it's like, listen, like, whoever is next, be ready to play, because it doesn't matter. Like, the games still keep coming. Like, you still have to be ready to compete. And
she explains that from day one of the season, the message was clear. Next woman up. Injuries are inevitable, but excuses aren't. Whether it's a starter or a role player.
Now, heading into her third season, Aliyah says the entire team mindset has completely flipped, and I mean flipped. No more sneaking up on people, no more cute little underdog narratives they can hide behind. With all those powerhouse off-season additions, a brand new coaching staff, and of course the undeniable Caitlin Clark spotlight, the Fever are now flat out expected to win. And yeah, that brings immense pressure, but it also brings a crystal clear purpose. Every single team out there is gunning for them, but Aliyah says with a grin, they wouldn't have it any other way. Bring it on. She even jokingly recounted telling Caitlin, "Kayla, I just want to say, I'm like really upset that you did what you did in that Final Four game. I was like, I feel like I just need to get it off my chest because we are teammates, but I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like, you did not have to go for 40 on our dome. Like, girl, we could have just had fun." But it highlights her completely clear-eyed view of exactly what it takes. Unshakable chemistry, relentless consistency, and an absolute refusal to make excuses. Injuries, lineup changes, all that outside noise? Look, it's all just part of the game, she says. But this season, the Fever aren't just showing up to compete. They're coming to flat out dominate. And according to Aliyah, once they truly figure things out completely, it's going to get absolutely scary.
Specific to Caitlin being on the floor, off the floor. And I saw you talk on your own podcast about the spacing and how different it is. But when you're entering a game, your mental prep, how does it change? Because it's two different
So while
systems.
2025 might have started out as a monstrous challenge, the Fever have absolutely turned it into an intense crash course in sheer resilience. They're learning to win ugly, to adapt on the fly, to trust each other implicitly under insane pressure. And with every single injury and every single adjustment, they are building something undeniably stronger, something real. Because get this, once this team is finally healthy and whole again, all that brutal early season adversity, it just might be the absolute best thing that ever happened to them, forging them into something unstoppable. And now, here we are at this exact moment. The Fever are locked in an epic bruising battle with the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA semifinals. And let me tell you, every single game feels like a savage dogfight. The series is now shifting back to Indiana, and the energy, it's razor sharp, you can feel it. But what makes this moment even more stunning, even more unbelievable? Indiana is doing all of this, battling through it all while fighting through injuries to 6 key players. The odds, by all accounts, seem completely stacked against them. But rather than crumbling or folding, they've actually leaned into the chaos, embracing it. In Aliyah Boston's direct words and those of head coach Stephanie White, she's been the team's absolute master, masterfully walking that impossibly fine line between a fierce, relentless competitor and the team's unwavering emotional anchor, showing the entire league precisely what happens when a team absolutely refuses to let adversity define them. As this pivotal series returns to Indiana, they're not just fighting for a win, folks, they are fighting for a statement. The Fever might be battered, they might be bruised, but mark my words, they are never beaten.
Honestly, like, when C is on the floor, I'm like, listen, be ready to run. Be ready to get out. Be ready because she's looking.
Yeah,
she's looking.
going.
She wants to play fast. Super early in the offense. And like we do that too as well here, but I think sometimes too now without her, like we can get into like a little more half court execution, make the defenses work a little bit harder, first side, second side, third side. And then I think when you have like Kelsey, when Kelsey's playing in transition, get that ball up to her and make her
I've never seen anybody so bouncy.
Like she is unbelievable.
And
then
when you
put her
shoes?
in screens, it's like, what do you do?
Bouncing all over.
She is moving, she's making the right read, and it's like, listen, and she's scoring the ball at a very high.
Aliyah Boston didn't just show up this season, she leveled up in every conceivable way through devastating injuries, relentless media storms, and those insane sky-high expectations. She has remained the steadfast anchor of a team that simply refuses to break, refuses to quit. And alongside Caitlin Clark and the rest of the incredible Fever squad, they've collectively turned every ounce of doubt into pure fuel, and every single adversity into their powerful new identity. The Indiana Fever are here. They are undeniably for real, and trust me, they are not done yet. So if you've been sleeping on them, now is the absolute time to wake up, because the very best is still unequivocally to come. Drop an A, B, and CC in the comments to show your massive support for Aliyah, Caitlin, and the Fever. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never ever miss out. Then go ahead and click the video on your screen, and we will catch you in the next one.